If you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this.
Caught GF with $2,500 payment at 4:30 a.m. I'm 32M yo dating 23F for the past 15 months, living together for the past 8 months. 2 months ago she got a bottle service job, right after their promoter was fired, so the bottle girls were made responsible for booking tables. I was out of town a month ago, and when I logged into my computer my GF's email was logged in and I noticed she received a $2,500 PayPal payment at 4:30 a.m. for furniture. After questioning her, she said this guy was a regular, came into the club that night and had a $3,000 minimum for his table. Since it was so slow they only made him pay $500 for the one bottle he and his crew drank. As a result, my GF and 2 co-workers got cut early and were hanging out in their car smoking. Apparently he texted one of her co-workers and said, "Wanna come hang with me and my buddies at my place? I'll compensate you the rest of the $3,000 I didn't have to spend at the club." So according to my GF, she said she went up and they all just hung out and talked watching TV. As they were leaving he asked them who has PayPal and sent my GF the full $2,500. She said she'd split with her 2 co-workers since she was the only one that had PayPal. Anyway, I found this all totally sketch but gave my GF the benefit of the doubt since I've never had trust issues. She showed me all her contacts and Instagram DMs showing she never has talked to this guy and got roped into this situation. She knew how upset I was all week, went home for the weekend and texted me, "I'll leave work at work and not put myself into any situations that make you question my character." Anyway, something just felt off and I was totally wrong, but I logged into her phone, guessed her recently changed passcode too, and saw this guy has been texting her stuff like, "Hey, are things good with you and your guy? You up? Wanna hang? Send pics from vacation." Also texted, "Come meet up, name your price." Also said, "Remember who took care of you last time?" She really didn't respond to most of those messages. But what really hurt, he texted her one night to hang when I had her out on a date and she responded to that one, "Can't hanging with friends." So I woke her up saying, "You lied to me after saying you didn't know the guy and I see him texting you creepy stuff." I said at first I was mad about what potentially transpired that night, giving you the benefit of the doubt, but what's really bothersome now is you're still texting him. I said you knew how upset I was about this and you did nothing to stop it. You allow him to orbit and I have no idea if I can trust anything you said. I said, "IDK, if I can do this, you gotta pack your stuff." Update. So she started packing her stuff, called her mom saying I kicked her out. Meanwhile I was just making boxes for her, asking let me know if she needs help. She packed a carload and I asked to talk. She said, "Nothing to talk about, you threw me out." Meanwhile she was supposed to come back the following day with a truck, but with inclement weather we had to push it off a week till after the holidays. So for the following week I reached out a couple times just saying stuff like, "Hey, I'm sorry with how things transpired, you just broke my trust, etc." Basically said in hindsight maybe I should have let her talk or explain herself again, but I said I felt so betrayed I acted off emotion. I said, "How about when I get back you can come over and we can talk to hopefully see eye to eye on this major issue." She agreed to that request, even saying, "I'll come pick you up at airport." Anyway, the week goes by and she cancels meeting up with me this past weekend saying she hurt her foot and is hobbling, but I found out she worked that night, so I said okay, let's meet TMRW. Next day came around, I got a text around dinner time saying I'm staying 45 minutes away tonight, won't work. So I texted her, "Hey, I need you to remove the rest of your stuff, I'll give you a week deadline, if not I'll rent a storage locker and give you the info to get it." So she came the next night. I asked if she wanted to talk. She said she's not in the mood to talk and that I already made my decision by kicking her out. So I started talking just to smooth stuff over, saying stuff like, hey, I love you and care about you a lot, but this whole situation is totally unacceptable. I said, if you're having convos with PPL that would make me uncomfortable seeing, you probably realize that's totally not right. I said, I'm hurt you lied to me and didn't care about my feelings at all. I said, with this bottle service job I always fully trusted you and never really got into your business. However, it's clear you've never been fully transparent with me about anything with this job, so this incident was a real eye-opener. I said, it's too tough for me to decide if you're texting per decimeter, in guys to strictly book tables, or if there's any side business going on, and quite frankly I shouldn't have to worry. I said, I really don't think it's my right, fair to constantly ask you questions or monitor interactions you have. I just said there is way too much gray area because you can always have the built-in excuse, I'm only talking to this person because I'm trying to get them to book a table. So I asked one final question. I said, who is this guy really, and why are you still texting him after you apparently don't know him? She said one of her coworkers must have given him her number, and that he's a regular and they talk sometimes because he books tables. Other than that, I don't owe you an explanation. Remember, we're broken up. TBH, I was really hurt with how she handled the entire situation. There was a part of me that maybe thought she'd say, hey look, I really screwed up, and explained herself, but nope, she took the opposite approach and was cold and was not willing to engage in any convo. As a result, I guess it kinda helped seeing her true character, and I'm chalking her behavior up to knowing she was in the wrong. So she, a friend, and myself headed up to my apt. I had everything boxed up all ready to make the move out to make it as easy as possible. She still has to come back for some more stuff and was pissed off I wouldn't just leave a key for her to enter whenever she wants. Anyway, seems like she's moved on pretty easily while I've been hurt and tried giving her every opportunity to explain herself and she didn't care. I caught my ex-wife cheating when I tried to surprise her. It was Labor Day weekend in 2021. My then wife was in TX for training in the Air Force, we both were in. We lived in Ohio at the time. During her training, she would call the kids, 7 and 3 at the time, and me every day and stay on the phone for a long time just talking about anything. Then suddenly she started talking less and less. Still daily, but only 2 minutes if that. She would say that she had to study for tests. Then she started missing days completely. After the 3rd time, I called her later and asked WTH was going on. She was utterly wasted, extremely drunk on the phone. I got mad and hung up. The next day, she says she needs space. Like I'm the bad guy here. We barely talked for 2 weeks after that. To backtrack a bit. We married when I was 25. She was 23. Dating for 4 years before that. When we were dating, she went to visit her friend in CA. Her friend married a Marine and moved there. Well, during that time, she was also going to meet a guy she had never met. Someone her friend wanted to set her up with. So for the entire 2 weeks, she was cheating on me. So we broke up for about a year. I connected back with her again, and we got back together. About 2 years later, I got married. During our marriage, she completely changed. She denied me intimacy and affection. When she rejected me, I would naturally get upset. I would say mean things to remind her of what she did because I knew it would hurt her. Fast forward, we had 2 children. Our marriage went on with hardly any intimacy or affection from her. I would ask her to kiss me. After our 2nd child, we were pretty much roommates. I was extremely depressed, and it was difficult to get out of bed and do anything. I realized I wasn't the father I wanted to be, not the husband, and sought mental health. So back to the time after we started to stop talking after our argument. I thought the spark had been missing in our relationship, and I blamed myself for my depression and anxiety. So I got a babysitter for the long weekend. She had mentioned that she wanted to get away and go camping by herself. So I took it as an opportunity to surprise her so we could spend the weekend alone, just trying to get our love back to what it was before marriage. I went to her hotel on base and talked to the hotel staff beforehand to let them know I wanted to surprise her. They were okay with it after I showed proof of who I was. I got an extra keycard, went into her room before she returned from training, and was going to surprise her when she came in. When I got into her room, I saw a large box of condoms on her nightstand, many empty alcohol bottles in the trash, and her counters. I also saw her wedding ring in her bathroom on the counter as if the ring was stored there. I was devastated and in shock at what I saw. I hid in the closet, and when she arrived, I jumped out and said surprise. I just was still in disbelief that this was happening. Her response was, "You're not supposed to be here." Then she locked herself in the bathroom. She texted a school friend, a girl, to come. The friend rushed to her room as if it seemed like I was hurting her. To be clear, I had never raised a hand or even got close to it. Her friend left, and she came out of the bathroom. I demanded an explanation. All she could say was, "I'm sorry." It wasn't in an apologetic way, more of an "I'm sorry you had to find out this way." I left immediately, took a car to the airport, and bought the first ticket home. I could only do the bare minimum for my kids the entire weekend because I was crushed. Monday rolled around, I called, and she said she wanted a divorce. I was just in disbelief and agreed without a discussion. The only thing I could manage to get out was, "I'm taking the kids and moving back home." I was medically retiring from the military before she would return from training. Her response was, "Okay, can you take the dogs too?" After we split and I moved back, I did some digging. I checked our bank account and saw thousands of dollars at bars and other places being spent by her during the time she was in training while telling us she was studying. I also checked the phone records. I couldn't see the messages, but I could see one number that kept coming up all day, every day, back and forth. That ended up being the guy she was cheating on me with, no surprise. We finalized our divorce in February of this year without fighting. Since then, she has skipped her time with her kids twice to go on mini vacations with this guy. He lives in DC, 7 hours away from her. We live in Mo, 6 hours from her. In our divorce agreement, she can come to see the kids whenever she wants during the week if she clears it with me first. She just did that for the first time 2 weeks ago. Since February, that is the only time she has done that. When she calls the kids, and they see she is in the car or at a place they don't recognize, they ask her where she is. She admits she is with her new BF, she drives or flies to see him instead of the kids. Last Thursday, she called me and said she messed up, missed the kids and me, and wanted to get back together. I tell her that she has to agree to go through her therapy and marriage counseling. It sounded like things were going to get better. 2 days later, she sent me a message telling me that she wasn't going to do any of that. This guy makes her so happy, and she is now engaged to this guy. My life was crushed again. The entire year I have constantly been crying and lying in bed. Thank God for my family because I couldn't do this without them. I just feel so worthless. I can't connect with anyone I try and date because I am numb now and have commitment issues. I can't find a job, and I bought a house that I now have tapped into my savings to start paying for. I constantly have morbid thoughts of being better off dead. Then I hate myself more for thinking that because I have 2 amazing kids to care for. I feel like nothing can go right, and I'm going to lose my kids, my house, and eventually myself. I have been talking to a therapist, but I DK if I feel any different. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm not sure what I'm looking for here, But I thought maybe if I got my story out there, it would have some kind of relief. My fiancé, my partner for 6 years, left me for a friend we've known a few months. For some background, my now ex-fiancé 21F met a mutual friend 23 male in January, I believe. We became really close and started to do projects together. Had a very close bond. However, I noticed they would be a little more clingy or touchy together. I would ask my fiancé multiple times and she would always say, "He's like a brother to me, what I feel is platonic." I believed them. We got engaged in April this year. Split in June. I did not have a choice in this. My fiancé just decided things were not working, with very little to back up that claim. I genuinely thought we were very happy. A month passes and my friend is lying to me. Lied about my ex-fiancé staying at his home for days at a time. He would constantly claim she needed support and was grieving, which I do believe. However, my feelings and grief was always pushed aside and I was just told to move on and look to the future by the two of them. This month, I have found out they are very likely dating. Sent videos in July to mutual friends of them drunk making out. They still kept lying and gaslighting me whenever I asked any questions. I had an attempt on my life. A lot of bad things happened after it. And they have constantly pulled the "we are trying to do best by her," and "we care a lot about her" card to our friends. I am getting mental support now. This week, they had a fallout with our friends after pushing them to state their opinion. They didn't like our friends telling them what they are doing is wrong by me. That they are disrespectful at best. I have felt like they have been subtly making moves on each other since before the engagement, as I did have my suspicions. I feel like they have had an emotional affair. My fiancé would always say, "I would never cheat on you, so it hurts you questioning me." But every single thing they would do hit all the signs of emotional cheating. She cheated on me. After 6 years of being together and 13 years of being best friends. All for a guy she barely knows. Am I crazy to be this upset and heartbroken? They are both very aggressive towards our friends for not agreeing that what they did wasn't wrong. They honestly don't see fault in what they've done to me. I need advice. I need to know I'm not crazy to think I've been severely wronged by them. She's the love of my life. I love and miss her an insane amount and I just want her back again. I want to escape this nightmare. Update. So it's been a little while since the fallout of my original post regarding my ex and I just wanted to update. Everyone was right about my place in life at the time. I was and am way too young to be engaged and I hold my hands up to that. I've since realized through a lot of therapy that I was influenced into believing I wanted it by my ex constantly mentioning it. She would take us to ring shops all the time to pick which one you'd get me. My friends have been there for me through it all. They have stuck by my side since the beginning and I couldn't be more grateful for them and their loyalty. I'm sure you'll be happy to know that I've had no contact with either the ex or the new boyfriend since. I've taken the time to heal myself and figure out who I am as an individual and what I want in life. With that being said, I've met a girl. I can honestly say that this feels a whole lot different. I've never felt a connection like this. We have a lot in common and all of my friends, even my family, say we are similar. My parents have commented on how I am like a completely different person, a lot happier since meeting her. I'm hopeful. For the first time in quite a few years, I actually feel hopeful about life. I've traveled a lot more, left the country and done so many things that me and my partner are both interested in. Things I never would have been able to do. Therapy and my girlfriend have saved me in a way I didn't expect. I did not go looking for anything, but finding her has been my biggest blessing. I'm hoping this new year brings a lot more happiness. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice and helped me feel valid. I'm still healing, still finding myself, but in a much better and safer setting than I've ever had before.